my acting came about. Acting is not something that I've always wanted to do, and it wasn't something that was on my mind, kind of
Oh,
growing up.
really?
Um, but my aunt, Delinda Kay, she was the
Oh,
one that
that's
got me. Yes,
your aunt?
yes,
Oh, really?
yeah. So she definitely
Uh,
she got me into it. At first I was a little skeptical. I was like, I don't really know if this is for me. We started off doing plays, you know,
okay.
so it was different from now as far as doing movies. Plays, of course, you gotta know all your lines. It was very hard and very challenging trying to remember some of the things. But as I grown, as she taught me and led me into doing it, I came adapted to it, and it is grown as a passion for me. And now I literally I can't stop. So I've been doing plays. We have a plethora of plays out. I've been doing that ever since. Let's see, it's been years. I think I was a teenager around like maybe 14. So I've
Mm.
been doing it since then, and I haven't stopped.
So what made her out of like all members of your family and people around her, what made her decide to like what was it about you? What I mean, was this something in particular she saw in you in particular? Or what you did you become an understudy at some point, or did you help her like behind the scenes at some point, and she just felt like it was something there? Do you know?
So initially, before me even getting into it, I do feel like that she definitely seen potential in me to be able to do that. I do feel like she's seen the vision of me being in this type of field. So I mean, I'm very grateful for her, bringing me into it or whatever the case may be. Um, but she brought me in. She pretty much told me, she said, Isaiah, I want you. Do you want to do a play? And I'm like, a play, kind of like, huh? I don't know if I'll be able to do that. But she seen the potential in me to be able to do it. She pushed me. She never gave up on me, even when I did struggle.
Right.
Um, and she kept pushing me to my fullest potential. And I
Wonderful.
feel like she did definitely see something in me that this was for me, and I can't say it hasn't let me down since.
And that's wonderful. So I want to know, working with family, because sometimes that's not always, the best thing, So how is it when your interaction with her um behind the scenes, and your interaction with her in a family setting, in a personal setting?
Okay, so the way that I look at that, I looked at it as a job.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
she's my
Okay.
director, even though she's my aunt. When
Hmm.
it comes to being on set, that's my job. That's me. That's where the aunt is cut out. She's my director. So I make sure that I keep that boundary there because I think that's needed. Because when people get too comfortable, that's when
Yeah,
people can
exactly.
come in. So I definitely always keep my boundary, even with as far as criticism, the way she corrects me. I take it as a learning process. I don't take it as, oh, she's picking on me because I'm her nephew, or she's picking on me because she
Hmm.
can't do this, or she's not. Like, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as she loves me and she's just trying to push me to where she sees that I can go. So
Wonderful.
I will say, like, our relationship in this acting thing is phenomenal.
Wonderful.
It's nothing that I wouldn't take away from it. It's nothing that I would add to it. It is perfect just the way that it is.
Oh, wonderful. I love that, because I mean, that balance is so necessary. And I'm so glad that you're able to have the ability to separate personal and professional. Because, not like I said, unfortunately, not a lot of people within the personal spaces are able to have the ability to do that.
Right.
But let me ask you, Isaiah, where do you see this going? Like from your perspective, um where do you see this going, for you? Like, how do you want this to play out, in the future when it comes to your acting? And where do you see yourself? I know you see yourself winning an Oscar, maybe an Emmy. You never know. So like, where do you see this going?
Um, Honestly, I've always said it my whole life. Me and my aunt, this is one of our mottos. We've always told each other, we're gonna make it.
Mhm.
We're gonna make it. Not saying it hasn't been hard because it has. As far as when I say hard, as far as holding on to that faith of having this dream at a young age, to now being at a place where now I'm doing movies and thinking back then, like, wow, I came from doing stage plays, helping my aunt build sets, you
Wow.
know.
Mhm.
So it's like I see definitely I see me working with some big actors. As far as like one of my main ones that I cannot wait to act with is Denzel Washington. Like he's
Mhm.
someone that I definitely look up to. Definitely would love to get some pointers from. I see
Yes.
myself working with, just connecting with different famous actors. I feel myself being one of the top.
Yeah, you'll do
I
yes.
feel myself making myself one of the legends like Denzel Washington.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
That's what I'm going to always strive and push myself to.
Absolutely. Yeah, you better manifest that now. You better manifest that. So now let me ask you this, out of curiosity, what was the first thing you did with the first acting check you got? I don't know how big or small it was, but what was one of the first things you did with that acting check? Not the regular 9 to 5 check, but the acting check.
Well, let's just say this. It's not paid gigs. And what I would say is
Mhm, mhm.
I look at it as this is the
Exposure.
sacrifice this is the sacrifice that I have to make to
Yes,
get to where I
yes.
want to.
Okay.
It's not so much really about the money. It's the point of me actually doing something that I love. You
Absolutely.
know. It's about me actually making a career out of it, me actually doing acting as a job and actually getting paid for it. But I know until then, until I can get there, I have to sacrifice. And it does take sacrifice. You got
Yes,
long nights.
absolutely.
It takes your time. You have long nights where you're filming from day in to day out. So it's definitely something that I don't look at to. Of course, I want to get paid for it eventually, but
Yes,
it's not
yes.
right now. That's something that I'm working towards.
Yes, and what the type of exposure you're getting right now, Isaiah, trust me, it's not gonna go unnoticed. Trust and believe that. It's going to hit, because you're not only on Tubi, you have movies on Amazon Prime. Like this, the start is there. It's
Right.
up from here. So yeah, I truly believe that. And in regards to your acting and your regular job, how do you manage, and having a family as well? How do you manage it all?
Well, whether you
Mhm,
know it or not,
mhm.
this is I would say it does sometimes become challenging. But I try to, as far as with the acting and trying to balance like my home life and working, it can become very tiresome. Definitely with a 2-year old keeping me on my
Yes,
toes, ripping
yes,
around all the time. It definitely can become challenging. So I always try to, even if it has to be late nights,
yes,
I
mhm.
kind of make sure that my house is good and in order. I make sure my son is laid down. So as far as my fiance, she doesn't have to do too much. And I'm a cooking man too. So
Oh, good.
by the time
Yeah, you
my
said that.
fiance comes
Yeah, you
home,
said you
I
like to
cook.
cook. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I have meals prepared, kind of have so the night can go fluently. And when it goes like that, I set a time to kind of like study my scripts or, and I'm a type that I don't need a lot of time as far as rehearsing my lines. Um, Honestly, I could probably look at it if I was to get a script like today by let's say what today is Wednesday. By the end of the weekend, I'll have it down pat,
Wow. That's
regardless of the
impressive.
list. Yeah. So it doesn't take a lot of time because when I actually get into it and I'm focused, I'm focused. I actually take the time to learn my character. I take the time to actually become that character. I find out my tone of how I need to be.
Mhm.
And once I find all those things out, it kind of plays together. I learn my lines and it probably takes maybe like between that week span, maybe of course, just the night times doing rehearsing those lines, I can get it. So I really don't need as much time as far as the studying wise in my acting career. I don't need as much time, but
But it's
yeah,
effective, whatever you're
yeah,
doing, it
it's
works.
effective.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, whatever you're doing, it works, and it works so well. So make sure, just, a quick plug here, make sure that you check out Isaiah's work on, Tubi. Make just type in his name and you see all his work on Tubi as well as Amazon Prime. He has a movie out called The New Guest on Amazon Prime as well as Tubi. And I have, the link, in the description box to the clip that you just saw, Unauthorized Love, as well as The New Guest is gonna be in the description box below. And I want to just, before we continue, Isaiah, I just wanted to thank you for what you shared with me so far, because I know that we just got on the surface of what it is that what your journey is and what it entails, but based on what you have shared with us as far as you transitioning and kind of evolving, from being the shy, antisocial kid to developing enough social skills to be a leader within your job, and also to just take on, the be more proactive when it comes to your acting and being the family man that you are. So before I forget, I just wanted to give you some of your flowers, that you
Thank you,
deserve.
coach.
Yeah, so I think that that's commendable, especially a young man like yourself. So I think that's very commendable. So I just
Thank you.
wanted to make sure that I acknowledge that.